Hello, everybody. This is Joe Pimento, Joe the lawyer. Today, we're going to talk about the Cody Roberts case. It's a case of animal cruelty taking place in the great state of Wyoming. Now, I just learned about this case basically from scrolling on my Twitter, my X feed. I hadn't heard about it before, but it's actually very fascinating. And I thought it was something that was worth taking a look at on the channel. So please stay tuned while we get into this case. The title of the article we're going to be looking at is Wyoming Judge Denies Dismissal, Cody Roberts Felony Animal Cruelty Case Advances. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to get more viewers, trying to get more subscribers. So please, leaving a like, leaving a comment, sharing this video is a great way to support the show, and I truly, fully appreciate it. Now, before we dig into this article, I want to give people some time to come and join my live feed. Before we dig in, please raise your cup, your glass in the air. Yes, I'm drinking out of a Steelers cup here. So for all my non-Steelers fans, I hope your team loses. I'm rooting for Seattle in the Super Bowl, but raise your cup, your glass in the air. Cheers with me. I'm drinking some ginger ale tonight. This is my, it's kind of like my go-to beverage now. Raise your cup, your glass in the air. Cheers with me. It tastes better when we sip together. Diet ginger ale. Okay. So, this case is about the guy in this picture, Cody Roberts, and the abuse of a wild animal, a wolf. I have some personal experience with cruelty to animal cases. And it's probably about 5 to 6, maybe 7 years ago. Prior to that, in Pennsylvania, cruelty to animals was only a misdemeanor 1. Now, that's the highest graded misdemeanor, but it's not a felony. And most people, if you were convicted of it, of a misdemeanor 1, then you probably were not going to do any jail time. You might not even do any to animals. Now, most of the cruelty to animal cases that I encountered were more neglect type cases, right? Like bad pet owners. Kept their dogs outside, didn't feed them, didn't take care of them enough, didn't treat them enough. So, they ended up getting sick and dying. And again, most of those cases, that was more negligence than anything intentional, just bad stewardship, which would sometimes lead to the animal dying, which is very sad, but nothing intentional. I also had some cases where there was intentional harm to an animal. And one of the cases I had was literally right after the felony 3, right after, it was like probably, I want to say 2018 or so, 2019, could be off by a few years. Pennsylvania had just turned cruelty to animals into a felony. Prior to that, it was only a misdemeanor. And now I had a client dealing with this new statute, right? This felony, and I'm as a defense lawyer, I'm trying to get it lowered to a misdemeanor. But all told, there probably should be a felony for it, right? I mean, if you're inflicting suffering on another sentient being for really no good reason. And some of the things that are done to animals just absolutely terrible. So it probably should be a felony. And I think it probably is in most states, though it wouldn't surprise me if it's still a misdemeanor in a lot of states. Anyway, I'm looking at my X/Twitter feed, and this story comes up. Wyoming judge denies dismissal. Cody Roberts felony animal cruelty case advances. And we see here, this is Mr. Roberts, and this is the poor wolf, which was the subject of this action. So let's read through this case, and I'll do some analysis as we read. Judge Richard L. Lavery has denied the defense's motion to dismiss the felony animal cruelty charge against Cody J. Roberts, meaning the charge will stand and the prosecution will move forward, according to Wyoming wildlife advocates. Roberts' attorney had argued the felony charge should be thrown out, but Judge Lavery rejected that claim, finding there is sufficient evidence for the prosecution to pursue the case. With the motion denied, the clock is now ticking. There are 8 days remaining for a plea deal. If no agreement is reached, the case is scheduled to proceed to trial on March 9th, 2026 in Sublette County District Court. The court is still awaiting a ruling on whether Kenneth Mills, lead wolf biologist with the Wyoming Game and Fish Department, will be allowed to testify as an expert witness, a decision that could be crucial in presenting scientific evidence at trial. I really don't know why. I mean, a wolf biologist wouldn't be allowed to testify as an expert. As long as they have the credentials and what they're talking about is scientifically accepted. So, my guess is that the expert will be allowed to testify. This felony case stems from Roberts' alleged torture and killing of a female wolf in February 2024, an act that sparked nationwide outrage after photos and video of the injured animal circulated online. And this is an emotional thing, and some people may find it hard to look at or handle. So, don't watch the rest of the video if this isn't your cup of tea. WAN will continue to closely track this case and provide updates as the legal process unfolds. So what am I looking at here? Wild Animal Fund or something along those lines. That's who. Wild Animal News, worldanimalnews.com. Okay. So here's another article. Cody Roberts' case proceeds as judge rules wolf's treatment not covered by predator exemption. Now this gets into the meat and bones, and then just another terrifying, sad picture here of the incident. A district court judge who hinted last week he wasn't persuaded by arguments for dismissing the animal cruelty case against Cody Roberts filed an order Tuesday explaining why he was instead sending the high-profile case toward a trial. District Judge Richard Laveri's 6-page order stated the plain language of an exemption for predators like wolves written into Wyoming's animal cruelty laws didn't provide a blanket license to do anything to an animal. The specific enumerated exemptions are for hunting, capture, killing, or destruction of predators in any manner not otherwise illegal. Well, that in any manner is broad language. At a hearing last week, Roberts' attorney Robert Piper described the entirety of the wolf's time in Roberts' possession as being an extended period of capture. Laveri didn't agree in his response to a motion to dismiss. This case does not arise out of capture of the wolf, but out of defendant's alleged conduct after capturing the wolf but before it was killed. The judge quoted legal precedent that established courts are not at liberty to add words to a statute that the legislature chose to admit. Roberts allegedly acquired a wolf by striking it with a snowmobile until barely conscious on February 29th, 2024. Photos from that night showed him posing for pictures with the wolf and even kissing it. The wolf's behavior suggests that it was gravely injured, according to biologists who have reviewed video of the muzzled animal while it was prone and listless on the floor of the River Green bar. So this guy essentially takes a snowmobile, rams it into this wolf multiple times until it's so dazed and beaten that he can then muzzle it, as we can see here, and bring it into a bar and show it off like a trophy. I mean, that's essentially what he did. The incident touched off a wave of global outrage that inundated Sublette County with threats and caused Wyoming state agencies to suspend social media accounts peppered with upset comments. During the initial law enforcement response, Wyoming Game and Fish Department warden cited Roberts with a $250 discretionary fine for possessing wildlife instead of sending him to court in pursuit of steeper charges. At the time, the state agency contended what Piper is now arguing. The predatory species are exempt from animal cruelty statutes. So essentially, if you have a predatory species, a human being can do whatever they want to it. Can a human being do whatever they want to a deer, a rat, a raccoon, a bird, a fish? I don't know. Could you get animal cruelty charges for torturing a fish? It's just an interesting question. Sublette County law enforcement officials disagreed. Last summer, prosecutor Clayton Malinkovich convened a grand jury that indicted the 44-year-old Daniel resident for felony animal cruelty, punishable by up to 2 years imprisonment. He has pleaded not guilty and remains free on bond. Roberts' trial is scheduled to begin March 9th. So I'll give a few comments about this case, and sorry, I almost hate to keep this picture up. I mean, it's so sad. The predatory animal exception, right? The predatory, that's very interesting. And I think 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you could probably do this, and there would be no recourse from law enforcement. And predatory animals were largely seen as a nuisance. But we live in 2025, and that's not quite the situation anymore. Now, animal rights have advanced a long way, and people view predatory animals as a sign of a healthy ecology. And especially with wolves, and I don't know how wise this is, okay? But wolves are being reintroduced into parts of the United States and Canada in order to put them back into their natural habitat. And it's like, oh yeah, well, like, I think wolves are pretty cool when I'm watching a movie or watching it on TV. But if I was a rancher or a farmer, I doubt I would feel that way. If a wolf came in and killed my dog or killed my cat or some animal that I owned, I don't think I would feel too good about them. But given that, I do think that what this guy did appears to be out of line. The problem, I think maybe the problem here is the method by which he did this, right? Like when you're hunting, you're gonna kill the animal, right? You're gonna kill it, hopefully in one shot, maybe two, whether you're bow hunting or you're shooting with a gun, and then you've ended its life in a quick manner with limited pain, and then at that point in time, it is an acceptable thing to take the animal and show your friends and kind of show off with it, or get the meat processed and get it mounted on your wall. The problem here is that he didn't kill the animal in a quick or painless manner, or a manner that is sort of accepted by society as a whole, right? He instead decides to ram it with a snowmobile, which he didn't even kill it. He probably just did enough brain and cartilage and bone damage to it that it couldn't walk or move or defend itself. And then he straps it up, and then while it's still living, he parades it around. And so it's interesting on a number of levels, right? Like, this is a wild, like, because it's a predator, his attorney's argument, because it's a predator, this is okay. And I guess when the attorney is making the capture argument, there's a lot of people that go trapping, right? Set traps. Trapping is legal. You would trap an animal, and when you trap an animal, it's probably going to be injured and limping and hurt for an extended period of time, which is not too different from what Mr. Roberts did. Perhaps, though, what the law is really going to look at here is the kind of the purpose, like those, like trapping or hunting, or even killing an animal that's on your land in a quick way that doesn't that is disrupting your land or your animals. Those are all more socially acceptable than just beating an animal senseless and then parading it around while it's still alive. Like the intent here is kind of the problem, I think. And this judge and this prosecutor don't seem likely to kind of let him off the hook. So if he's going to go to trial, this is my prediction, because I remember I had an animal cruelty case, and I went to the preliminary hearing, and I walked into the courtroom, and there were like 8 uniformed animal control officers all there for the hearing. Okay, like, they came out in force. So what does that mean? That means a lot of people are more receptive. They look at animals as just helpless beings, and a lot of people look at him like, oh my God, what did you do? So I think he's going to have a hard time with the jury. But with that said, if you are Cody, you're going to want to put people, you're going to want to put, and you might get a lot of this, like if you're not in an urban area, in a rural area, you're going to want to put people on there who are hunters, who are trappers, who have killed wild animals before for whatever reason. Those are probably the people that are going to be most acceptable and may accept that argument that this is a long period of capture, like if the animal was trapped. But you get people that are not used to that lifestyle. They're probably they're going to feel very differently about it, and they're going to empathize with the animal. I still think he's probably going to have a hard time, because even though most hunters aren't going to have any problem at all with somebody killing an animal, it's the manner in which it's done. Because I think most hunters, they hold their sport in very high esteem, and they treat it, I think, with a lot of respect. I mean, not all hunters, but most do. And so when they're taking the life of an animal, they're going to take it quickly. They're going to take it in a industrial economic way, do it quickly, and then they're gonna treat the body of the animal in the correct way afterwards. And they may feel that this treatment here was just him, going a bit too far. I mean, looks like he's taking it to a bar to show it off is just, like, this is just a terrible look. Now, I think his attorney's strategy is probably like, listen, let's have the trial. You maybe win the trial. If you lose the trial, you can appeal and make the legal argument about the predatory animal. And along some stage, he may win. But my prediction is going to be that if he goes to trial, he will lose. Whether he wins or not on the appeal is difficult for me to say. And I am going to go ahead and I'm going to add this to my list of predictions. And if you bear with me 1 second, I'll show. I've got a few, but but only one right now. Come on, what are we doing here? Only one. See, I swear to this thing, you got to be kidding me. Whoops. These window captures that I use just are terrible sometimes. And now you can't see me. And I got to move this over here because I can't pick up my PowerPoint presentation. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Whoa, there we go. So we... for some reason it won't pick it up. But my prediction is going to be that he loses the trial. He may in fact win. He may win on appeal, but I think he's still going to have a hard time. I think he's going to lose at trial though. And let's see if I can just get this up. Yes, please. Come on. Give me... Here we go. All right. Way too big, of course. So these are my predictions. We've only got one on there so far. I hope you guys can see it. I don't know if you can. Let me see if I can make it bigger here. So I made a prediction in regards to Timothy Busfield, and my prediction was... Whoops, okay, I got to work on that. My prediction was that he would be released on bond, and he was. And my prediction here with Cody Roberts is that he is going to be convicted at trial because people just empathize way too much with animals. And I will put the prediction chart up during our next video. So if you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Trying to grow the channel. Had a lot of great support. Want to keep it rolling. So everybody, thank you very much for tuning in.